growing up, to whatever age you are now, I just want to ask you how much have you really engaged your brain to actually think for yourself, or how much research have you actually done with regards to whatever you've been told or taught so far in your entire life. Everything that you think you know in your adult life now, how much have you researched into it? How much time have you taken to actually ascertain the truth, or how factual these things or these ideologies that you have really are? A typical example is how we are taught growing up. Let's say how our parents, our friends, the society teaches us about Santa Claus, tooth fairies, Superman, Spider-Man, the Cinderella stories, all of these stories. And back in Africa, we had the Anansi tales, with his family, Ntekuma, the Yakonhua, his family, and all the other animals which were personified in these tales. We just got to know when we were much older to know that these tales were actually not so true as we thought they were. They were actually just stories to carry moral lessons across to us, because that time, that was how we were going to understand the stories. So they had to put it in the form of, tales with characters and all that. So yeah, when we grew up, we're actually able to discard those stories. So now, we very well know that regardless of whatever religion you're in, you were not presented with real facts at the tender age when you were being indoctrinated indoctrinated with those beliefs. You very well know that when you were presented or baptized as a Christian, as a Muslim, or as a Buddhist, a Hinduist, whatever, you know that before you were, ushered into these religions, you were not presented with the fact that whichever religion that may have been, was just one aspect or one religion out of the 42,000 religions which are there in today's world. Estimated 42,000 religions in the world now, which maybe Christianity or Islam or whatever religion you are in now is just one out of the lot. So this is where you ask yourself, or this is where I ask you, do you think that the fact that you were born into that Christian home, that you were born into that Islamic home, that you were born into that Buddhist home, since that was what your family was familiar with, which I guess your grandparents were also familiar with, does that mean that what you subscribe to now is the truth and the absolute truth, and that it tramples on all other religions or all other beliefs? Okay. So it's about time, that we actually took time to, think for ourselves. If anything at all, just think about it. Just think about it for a minute. Think about it. Because even back in school, before you read a book, be it a maths book, a science book, or whatever book it was, you would want to know and have a background about the author, the one who wrote the book. You would want to know something about them. to actually know if you have to take whatever is in the book seriously. Do you get it? So if today you can't, your religion or whatever book you believe in cannot, stand up to historical facts, and you not be worried, or you not have any reason to think about it, then, well, what can I say? I can only, share my thoughts on it. If it resonates with somebody, good. If it gets you to think, good. If it gets you to want to at least for the sake of it, do a little bit of research into whatever you believe in now, then that's fine. What I'm saying is, before you tend to label people who talk about, who speak their truth, or who want to speak about what they not believe, they say what they know is truth for them. Before you label these people as evil or as bad or as whatever, can you at least do the due diligence and research for yourself? Can you at least take a minute and listen to what the person is saying, rather than having to quickly put up your guards, rush into defense mode to attack the person without even taking the time of day to look into what the person is actually talking about? Instead of quickly rushing into throwing the baby with the bath water, please take your time to actually research into this. You have just one lifetime. You have one lifetime. So I believe this is something you need to take, whether it's how do I even call it? If it's your spirituality, your religious beliefs, or whatever you want to call it, I think it's of much importance to actually give it time. Okay, instead of just living life without looking into whatever you believe in, I think you will do yourself some good service to actually study, whether it's the Bible or whatever book you believe in. Actually take the time and look into what's in the book, and not just cherry pick or just hold on to the bits and pieces or the short sermons or the short Bible verses that is quoted to you in church or whatever religious setting you find yourself. Instead of just feeding off those for lack of a better word, those crumbs, why don't you do yourself some service and take the real thing? Because it was my drive and my urge to want to draw closer to God, to know Him for myself, that brought me to this conclusion, or that brought me to this self-realization. Okay. So on this path, on this in your lifetime, you can only do yourself some good to actually study, research, unlearn if you have to, a lot of these things we were indoctrinated with whilst growing up. Please do yourself that good. Just do yourself that favor. Whatever it brings you to, you have nothing to lose. If it's your book if it's your religion you wanna stick to, you studying and digging deep and trying to be grounded in the book, and so going on this journey to actually study and research deeper, it can only get you rooted well in whatever you believe in. But if it's time for you to have an awakening, trust me, it will spark up something in you. It will wake your soul. Your soul will actually communicate to you. You will be prompted to actually wake up and unlearn all the lies that you need to. So yeah. And I know, coming from a Christian background, anybody who challenges or anybody who speaks anything or presents anything which goes contrary to what we believe, we used to, label them as antichrist or being possessed by the devil or demons or whatever, without even looking at the facts. So please, I'm not here to bash you for whatever you believe in. I'm just here to actually get you to think about it a bit. I'm just here to actually urge you to dig deeper, to go in deeper. So yeah, if this resonates with you, thank you for taking the time to listen, because I know that this is not for all, or this video may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I do believe that whoever is meant to hear this at this time in their journey would be directed to this video. So thank you for listening.